Greetings and welcome, everybody. My name is Chris Chapman. I'm president and CEO, Kingmakers of Oakland. I'm honored to be in community with all of you at the 2021 Seattle Equity Summit, just to get that right. Kingmakers of Oakland works with school districts across the country to improve educational life outcomes for Black boys and Black students. We offer an extraordinary systems redesign process, but at the core of the redesign process are Black children, Black youth. And one of the things that we posit and believe in strongly is that whoever controls the narrative has the power. And the narrative in many of our public schools across this country is one that has normalized the problem of practice versus the promise of practice. And so we work hard to really curate places and spaces where people see the beauty, brilliance, and excellence in Black youth, in Black children, and Black people. And one of our drivers and design principles is around narrative change. And so today we are honored to share our film, The Revolution, that was born out of the crisis last year. And I'm honored to introduce two extraordinary artists that will be in community with you all today as you all watch the film. But at this point, I'd like to introduce B. DeVoe and Khalil Chapman. B, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you all. Yes, my name is B. DeVoe. I am a youth ambassador with the Kingmakers of Oakland street team, as well as an Oakland native and a vocalist. I've been going to OSA, which is Oakland School for the Arts, for 7 years of my high school and middle school upbringing. So a lot of my music influence that you will see in the film definitely comes from my Oakland community. Thank you so much for having me here. Khalil?
Absolutely. Thank you, B. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you all in this space today. My name is Khalil Chapman. I'm an ambassador on the street team as well as a media coordinator with Kingmakers of Oakland. I'm also holding down some work as an early literacy king in OUSD, teaching 5-year-olds in transitional kindergarten. So yeah, it's a blessing to be here today to share with you all what we've created. You will see me and B as narrators in the film as well, doing poetry as transitions in between the songs. So definitely want to just encourage you to listen closely and yeah, sit back and just enjoy and digest the Revolution remix.
Excellent. Thank you, B. Thank you, Khalil. At this point, we're going to stop recording in the spirit of everybody. I think we're beginning recording again. If folks can hear me, maybe a thumbs up. Right on. I'm just moved on so many different levels, y'all. Kingmakers of Oakland, this work, listen, the cavalry ain't coming nowhere to save nobody. We have what we need in our community. What we lack is will and organization. Y'all, we speak through film, through music, and through poetry. This was a testament of extraordinary folks before us, now and after us. And so I want to give thanks to the directors, Judd Fleming, Kava Menzies, give thanks to my entire family who was in the film. It was low budget, but big budget and presence. And so we're going to do a little reflection. I'm going to monitor the chat. I'm going to open with a couple of questions for B. DeVoe, extraordinary life force energy, not only as a lyricist, a poet, a songwriter, but just an influencer. And then my son, Khalil, who's just the one on so many different levels, so proud of him to share his gift. But they're going to reflect on a couple of questions, and then I'll take a question from the chat and then allow our artist to respond to that. I know we don't have much time, but just honored to be in community with all of you, and so grateful for the organizers to offer places of healing for us. And so without further ado, the first question I'd like to pose to B. DeVoe and then Khalil Chapman, please take a moment to share your thoughts around your creative process and or what inspired you throughout the making of the Revolution remix. And so B, would you like to take that question first, please?
Yeah, no problem. When I first got the call from Kava Menzies, who kind of orchestrated this whole amazing project that we put together, she was like, we're going to come to the studio, we're going to write, and we're going to record it, and it's all going to happen in like probably 3 days. And we all came down and we started writing, and just, the energy that was so many different Bay Area artists being in the same room and being able to, hear each other's verse and everything. I just started thinking about what I grew up around, which in Oakland is definitely vibrance. I also spent some time as a child in Seattle as well. And I definitely got a lot of music and art influence from there too. So when I was thinking about my verse, I was thinking about my younger siblings and those who, are coming up after me and looking up to me, and what I wanted them to take away from it, especially when I was writing the poetry as well. That was really, the faces that I saw in my head were my little brothers. So that's really where a lot of my inspiration came from, as well as just being around such amazing mentors my entire life. So yeah. Khalil?
Yeah, and that's a really great point and a great answer, B. I think in terms of the creative process and some of the motivation behind the film and behind the soundtrack, because the soundtrack came first, as the Revolutionary remix stands alone as a body of work you can find on Apple Music or Spotify or things like that. So that was kind of the first convening. And the first meeting we had as artists together was like a Zoom call with 30 folks. And that was one of the biggest kind of convenings around music or art that I had been in or involved in, and just the concentration, the level of kind of just focus. I mean, people were so fed up. People were so kind of just the emotion was boiling over. And I feel like as artists, we wanted to create anyway. And there were things that we wanted to say, get off our chest, heal. Like there were so many things that were really starting to pile up. So to have that space with all those artists and really be clear about what we want to say, how we want this message to come across, and who we're talking to, that was a huge kind of just monumental moment for me as an artist, but for the group. I think it gave us really clear direction. And yeah, shout out to Color Queen Kava, who really did a big part in orchestrating it, but really channeling the energy that we felt from the protest, from the countless killing and the assault on Black lives that we've seen really throughout history, and the high concentration lately. So those were kind of the things that motivated the music and my participation in it. And then in terms of the process, writing this, and even watching it now, I feel mad emotional, and it's hard to like stop myself from crying at times, because writing the words, it's like, it's so hard to put yourself in that much pain and that much, just historical hurt. And then to try to filter that and create something out of that and create uplifting messages. I do think it takes a lot, but it was an amazing experience. And I feel like I learned so much about our history, our people, the people we worked with. And yeah.
Right on, B. Right on, Khalil. Appreciate you both. I just want to remind all the viewers, we curated a 4-track EP and a film during COVID. So while schools were shutting their doors and people disengaged, we engaged on every level. And the only thing stopping us was us. And I actually just want to do a quick shout out to an extraordinary Shiro, local hero to the Seattle community, but also nationally. This queen has influenced so many, but it was her seed money. The $15,000 we got from the Lord Satterberg Foundation. Hopefully I said that right, CC. But I just want to shout out CC for her love, her light, because it was that investment. We were able to do the film, and then through the film, all the stuff continued. We finished the film like in February, March, things shut down, and then y'all, we were just tracking just the trauma, and so the film was healing, and so. I just say that to say, man, we took $1, or we took what, 15 cents, make a dollar out of 15 cents, but all that to say the next question. And I'd love the audience, if there's a question you have for these two extraordinary young people that all of us will be working for someday, please put it in the chat. But the next question, in the spirit of this film, I'm curious, given where you all are at in your journey and trajectory, what do you hope the impact of the soundtrack and the film will have on the next generation or on the viewers here today. And since we started off with B, the first time, let's start with Khalil, and then B, you close us out on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I do think just watching the film, there's a lot of history and knowledge in it. So just to be able to observe and learn and listen, and through that kind of heal and take steps towards understanding, whether it's pain or just our history, I do think it's like an eye-opening feeling that it really sparks. And we played this for a small community in Oakland, and it was very, very well received. And to see how people were just kind of digesting the film, it definitely motivated and empowered me to keep going. But just the idea that we can, one, change the narrative, that all our music doesn't have to sound the same, that we can galvanize as a community and create art and content that we are all invested in and that we love. And then really finding other ways to cope, other ways to deal with our trauma and address our trauma. But this was an investment in ourselves as a small community. And really that goes to show what we can do as Black folk, as people of color, to address things that happen in our community, to come together and just build and create. I think watching the film, it lets people know that that's all possible.
Beautiful. I would say every time I watch it, I'm like on the verge of tears, or like, I just feel chills in every transition. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I haven't seen it, even though I've seen it probably about 5 times now. And it just kind of takes you on this ride, and you think you know what's going to happen, but you don't. And in the end, it's like everybody's together, rallying around each other, and it's beautiful. And so I would only hope that like people are able to see this video and see that it's possible, for a group of Black young individuals to come together and create something so beautiful and magical and poignant, at this time. We're not beating around the bush. We're very clear about what we're talking about. We're very to the point. And so there's no sugarcoating. I feel like we all were quite honest, because of the time we were in, being stuck in the house and kind of needing that outlet, like Khalil was saying. I only hope that people are able to hear that honesty, take it to the heart, and hopefully, use it for change. Maybe if not even having to input change themselves, but just by showing others this video, I feel like we can really, just change the narrative. And, as a young person and as an artist as well, who's trying to create work that, influences their audiences and helps them think, provokes them, to have a better mindset about us as Black people and just us as people, period. I'm looking at this piece and I'm like, wow, we were so intentional, with everything that we created, from the verses to what songs we chose to write over to, where we were in Oakland when we filmed the pieces. And it's just very intentional. And when you see intentional work done at such a high caliber, and you see what kind of impact it can have, I mean, it's quite amazing. So it's a blessing to be a part of this. And honestly, I think every time we play it, it's affecting someone. I know it's affecting me, and I was somebody who was a part of it. So I'm sure that anybody who's watching it has to be having, a visceral response. So I only hope that we can continue to spread, our love and our joy and our unity, and hopefully, continue to change the world one step at a time.
Ashe, B. DeVoe, Khalil Chapman, we love you. We see you. In the chat, y'all, we did get one question that'll be kind of the closing question, but let's, too many times we shower folks with their flowers after the fact, but for all the folk on this call, man, let's just let B. DeVoe and Khalil Chapman just know if you all can just send them some love, some acknowledgement, some affirmation, some words of encouragement, just to keep going and fight this good fight. That's what really these places and spaces are. And many times art reveals things that the verbal words cannot bring to light. And so just grateful for their talents. So in closing, Khalil and B, another extraordinary sister that I'm blessed in my life journey, I've been able to cross paths and learn from her, Lindsay Hill, posed a question to you all about what's next. So if you think about in your journey and evolution as social justice ambassadors, as artists, lyricists, What's on the horizon for you? How would you kind of let the community know what you see, where you're headed and how we can support? And whoever wants to go first and then close.
You want to kick it off, B?
Sure. Right now, uh-oh, can you hear me? Everybody, everything good? Okay. I would say right now I'm actually working on my own personal music project. So I am recording that and getting that together. I've been songwriting since I was probably about 6 years old. So now, as you saw in the project, I'm able to rap, poetry, I'm singing, all of that I sung or rapped, I wrote. So, we're just working on my own project now and pushing that out, hopefully by the end of the summer. So yes, thank you.
Khalil, we got less than a minute. What's on the horizon? How do folks contact you?
Okay, I'll be very brief. On the music side, we're working on another EP directed by, or I don't know what his title would be, but working with Obasi Davis and Drew Banga, called Black Joy. So that'll be another project coming soon. I'm an early literacy king for OUSD, which means I'm a TA for transitional kindergarten. Really just starting off on the track of trying to retain and train Black male teachers. So in that pipeline and trying to recruit. And then, working to get my BA in anthropology from Sacramento State, hoping to graduate in 2022. So that's what's on the horizon for me. Once again, thank you all for sharing this space with us. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, CC. Thank you, LaShonda. Thank you, Danny. Thank you to all the folks that put this on. For more information to get in a hold of Kingmakers of Oakland, you can go to kingmakersofoakland.org or check us out at Instagram, Facebook, Kingmakers of Oakland, or on Twitter, Kingmakers O. Great summit. I'm Chris Chapman. Have a great day the Kingmakers of Oakland way. Peace.